Welcome, everybody. Those who have been here, thank you for sticking it through and being attentive. In our social media age with shortened attention spans, you guys are doing amazing. It's very impressive. And for those who just came in, welcome as well. So first off, I'd like to start with the fact that Thakzin is also on the moderating side of this discussion. Last year, for anyone that was here last year, we did a production workshop and breakdown with Thakzin, which went crazy. I mean, the people absolutely loved it. That was the first time we've done it before with Carrying the Soul the year before, but it was the first time we actually filmed and captured it, and you know, people in the community got to experience it and be inspired by you. So thank you, and also thank you for just coming back and being on this side of things. Shout out to FL Studio in the building as well for supporting this segment. Shout out to FL for just being the GOAT DAW. You know, I downloaded FL Studio demo in 2013 for the first time, and that's when I started my production journey. So shout out to you guys for being the engine behind a lot of the music that we get to experience, including the gentleman that I'm about to introduce, welcoming the gifted, ever so talented Mpho.Wav, ladies and gentlemen, from South Africa. From Orange Farm, South Africa, to be exact. Tell us a bit about, to introduce yourself, like a bit about what inspires you to create the kind of music that you make, how it began. I know you have a church background. Tell us a little bit, and tell the people a little bit about that experience and how that sparked the producer that you are today.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me out here. Hello, guys. I'm really excited to be out here. I'm Mpho.Wav. Mpho means gift. It's a Sotho name that means gift. I'm a Sotho guy from Orange Farm. Lived between Orange Farm and the Vaal Triangle. So that's where everything for me was, you know. And yeah, a big part of my musical journey was my mother, who used to play a lot of music, you know, cleaning, before going to work. You know, like she always listened to music all the time. And I would just wonder how it's created, how it's recorded, how it's mixed. You know, how do they get to the final product? And that question just kept on bugging my head over and over again. And every time I have that question, I would play the records, you know, and just try to dig deep, you know, with what I have. And then, yeah, man, and then there's the church, which my mother never used to play about, you know. Like, everybody needs to go to church. Sunday morning, we're at church. And, yeah, man, I think that's where I found the music instruments. Like, there was a lot of access to musical instruments in the church. So, no formal training, just church every Sunday. There's a repertoire. You need to learn these songs, and there's a certain level of consistency that comes with it. And that's how I picked it up. So I started playing drums, and then I moved to the piano later on. And yeah, that's just how I found music, you know. My mother and the church, you know, yeah.
Amazing. It seems like that story is very consistent with a lot of artists in South Africa, is the church background and playing the keys or different instruments within the church. I know Pizzy is also a product of the church, yeah, as well. And, you know, I'm Muslim, but I might have to switch up because that's a cheat code, it seems like. I'm just kidding. You know, I know that you're early in your career, you began as a producer as well for other people a lot of times as well. What gave you the confidence? And I think actually you both can resonate with this question. What gave you the confidence to go from, you know, I'm the guy making the music in the studio and collaborating with people, and then they're, you know, kind of the face of certain records. Not to, you know, put too much out there, but like, what gave you the confidence to step out of that shell and say, you know, it's my time and I want people to know who I am as an artist and know this face and the spirit behind and the talent behind a lot of the music that you're experiencing? Was there a particular moment, or was that kind of like a process that you had to go through?
It was a process. It was a process. I cannot say there was a particular moment that I can mention that sparked the whole thing, but it was a process. You know, I think it's important to grow. You know, and growth is tied to the people that are around you. So I just slowly surrounded myself with people who are where I'm trying to go. And yeah, man, I just started creating remixes. You know, remixes were a portal for me. And for me, it was a way to catch the attention of the artists that I want to work with, and hope that they kind of like respond and work with me. And that happened. You know, I did a couple of remixes for Sanel and See Me, and then I would just post them on social media, on Instagram. I just post them, and then just one fateful morning, he just hit me up on Instagram. He's like, "Yo, what's happening here? What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just having fun. It's like, I love what you're doing, and I'd really like us to, you know, do more of it. Like, can you come through to the studio and kind of like be a collaborator or a co-producer or someone who's just gonna clean up the music and add stuff and make it sound heavier and deeper, you know?" And I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll come through." So the same morning we spoke, exchanged contacts, and then I took a taxi from the Val all the way to Johannesburg, where I met him, and yeah, I never went back home. Literally, I never went back home. Like, we just started creating music the whole night. Yeah, man. And from that night, records like Uhuru by Sanel Musician and Azana got born. Simi's sophomore album got born from those nights as well. So it was pretty an amazing time. So it was a process of learning and putting myself in spaces where there's people that their position is where I'm trying to be. So yeah, I just surrounded myself with the right people. And then before, I don't even know when was the exact day, but I just found myself creating my own records and sending them to Sanel, and it's like, "Yeah, man, we're gonna release, we'll find a release date." And then that was it. Yeah, so.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, okay, cool. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I think I resonate a lot with what Wave is saying. And it's about, you need to gain that confidence. And you gain the confidence through working with different people, through putting yourself into those spaces and just wanting to survive, you know, and being there. There's something that you said, and I think it's easier said than done, you know. You said you never went back home, you know. That takes, I think that is a lot, you know. I would like to know, what did that mean? Like, okay, you're not home, you are in a different space. How are the energies? How do you ground yourself, find yourself? How do you have to smile more with the person because they're accommodating you, or do you have to, like, how do you survive in that, you know? Because music sometimes can become an ego thingy, you know, and things like that are things that people might not really, you know, notice like that, or really understand, but they are there, you know. So what did that mean for you, having not to go home? And was it nice?
It was, bro. It was. I won't lie. And for one particular reason, is that Sanel Musician was the most receptive person when I arrived. You know, he was just like, yo, I'm excited to see you, let's go, let's do this thing, you know. So yeah, man, his excitement and enthusiasm kind of like gave me the confidence to be like, okay, maybe this is a right decision, I'm doing the right thing, because I mean, I'm not feeling any negative energy in the space. So it was a really positive space, and bro, it was amazing, I won't lie. Like nobody was telling anyone what to do. We were just going, you know, like we're just moving, and it's really hard to explain. Like it's very difficult to explain, but there was this energy, like we were in a trance type of vibe, you know. And yeah, man, I doubt anyone who is a producer and loves music would want to get out of a room that feels like that. And that's how I just never went back home. Yeah, we were just making music the whole week. The following week, Simi came through, Amifaku came through, Msaki came through, Zolani from Freshly Ground came through. It was a great energy. And this is happening in a span of like a week, 2 weeks. Yeah, man. So I think the reception at Sanel Musician Space and all the artists that we're working with just gave me the confidence to know that this is probably the right thing to do. Yeah.
Those are some serious names that you were with. Wow. Wow. The best in the industry. What gave you the confidence, but not just the confidence, but what was the approach in going from being in that collaborative space where essentially you're in his studio and you guys are creating, to then now you're creating your own space and trying to carve your own lane as an independent artist or as a solo act, dropping your first album, Mpho.Wav, incredible album. For those who haven't listened to it, I don't know why. Maybe it just hasn't found you, but Mpho.Wav is a masterpiece, start to finish. The range, slower records like Rain Down to up-tempo bangers like Underground, just phenomenal work. What was that process like for you to, like I said, go from that collaborative space where you are contributing essentially to other people's projects and being in someone else's energy, like you said, to then now creating your own? What was that like?
Yo, man, it was nerve-wracking, I won't lie. I was really nervous doing it, but I think I was blessed enough to have a lot of support. And yeah, they actually convinced me to make my own records and release them. I actually still wanted to be like a session musician, more of like a background producer. Like, you know, like even talking, sitting like this and talking, the miracle. I like just being quiet, staying in my corner, you know.
Give him a round of applause for showing up today. Let's go.
Yeah, so yeah, man, I think being in that space, it was really an amazing experience. And yeah, yeah, man. And then Sanel was like, yeah, man, you should do it, you know, go for it, you know, create something, you know. And then I just started putting together sounds, putting together kicks, and then I ended up creating a record called In the Den, which was like my first ever record to get released officially. Previously, I was just doing SoundCloud and other stuff, you know. But yeah, and then that kind of like started the whole thing, you know. It was In the Den, and then I sent it to Sanel Musician. He was like, at the time, I was no longer at his place. I had like a little crib in Johannesburg. And then he was like, yo, come through to the studio, come to my studio, and let's work on this record. I think it has a lot of potential, and it can like launch your career and introduce you to people. And then went over to his place, and we just started working on the record In the Den to what it sounds like today. And then, yeah, released the first EP titled In the Den, alongside a song called 016 Road, which I also created in the same season, yeah. And then after that, man, Shimza started playing the record. Then it moved to Black Coffee and a lot of other DJs. And I was just sitting in the house, like I remember just seeing the videos. I'm like, no ways. Like, it's unbelievable. And I think at that moment I felt like I wanna do more of this, you know? And that's what sparked the beginning of writing the album, you know? And initially it wasn't Mpho.Wav, it was supposed to be like an EP, you know, like the normal rollout way, do like a couple of singles, then an EP, and then move like that. But I think, you know, like the universe had other plans. So I just started working on the album like over a span of like months, and yeah, man, this is where we are now. Yeah.
Why Wave? Why not MP3? You don't like MP3?
Yo.
Tell us now.
Man, I think it's not because I don't like MP3. It's just that, I mean, we've always known Wave to be like a better quality sounding thingy, audiophile. And that's kind of like where I was taking it from. But initially I had a friend of mine who was a photographer who like his name had like a .jpg, you know, and I found that to be really interesting. And I was like, what if I do this with like music, you know? And then it started, and initially it was Mpho.mp3. And I was like, nah, I'm better than that. Let's move. Like, no ways. I was like, nah, you know? Yeah, this is quality stuff.
He said, I'm better than that.
Yeah, look, I'm better than that. Let's do Wave, you know? And then when I said it in a room with the gents and the team, like at the crib, we were just chilling, and I'm like, Mpho.Wav. And everybody was like, yeah, that's it. And then immediately I went on Instagram, changed my name to that, you know? And that was it. That was it, yeah.
Converted MP3 to Wave.
I converted it, yeah.
That's a good one. Thakzin, was there any other question? That was a great question, I'm not gonna lie. Was there anything else that you had in mind that you would like to ask your fellow producer before he goes into breaking down his the genius in his production?
Yeah, deep respect, man. You know, and for me, I would just like to know, there's a chapter that you went through after dropping the album, and how is that journey? Are we happy? Where are we? Are we getting the second book?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. We are getting the second book. And shout out to Descendants, man. I got to play some of the records that are gonna be on the second book on the Descendants stage, which was really exciting, you know. Yeah, man. So ever since the release of this first book, it's been an amazing journey. I won't lie. I met so many amazing people. Yeah, it was just unbelievable. The interest that the industry people, like producers and promoters and engineers, had in me and wanted to understand how I got to making this kind of music was really, really amazing. And I think it was, but there was no better way to introduce myself. Yeah. After the album, and it's been amazing, I won't lie. I met Sam, I met a whole lot of people, and I just started moving, you know, to like different countries. Nairobi, we did Nigeria, we did Portugal, we did, you know, we're in Amsterdam now, and I'm here for the second time. It's my first ADE experience. So like there's a lot of firsts and a lot of unbelievable moments. A lot of pinch me moments, like, oh, is this really him? He said my song is good. Yeah. You know, like, so that's what's happening. And I don't think I'm seeing what's happening like in real time. It is only when someone says, hey, like, look what just happened. So yeah, man, it's been an exciting journey. I won't lie, very unbelievable, nerve-wracking. You know, I've had to do like, I've had to get into very big shoes and quickly adjust to them. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience, I won't lie. So I'm going to do it again and again and again and again.
Yes, yes, yes. So before we go into the production aspect of things, I just had one last question. You use your voice in a lot of your production, whether it's creating shakers, chants. Some may not know, but if you listen to Underground, right? Or Teka. Who here knows the record Teka? Raise your hand. That's his voice in the record. His voice is making some of those shakers. I had the privilege, Pizzy and I had the privilege of being in the studio with you in London, and which is that day is why I wanted to have you so badly here, is because I got to witness your process firsthand, which is very rare for me. Obviously, living in New York, we don't get the opportunity to just see you guys in your element. And just watching that process was like, Pizzy looked at me, he's like, yo, I think we got to step back. Let the man cook right now, because it was an unbelievable process. So what was, why your voice and what gave you, what gave you the confidence in knowing that you could actually use it to create sounds?
This is heavily inspired by one of my favorite producers, Timbaland, who does the exact same process, you know? I mean, like, if people know Timbaland and his process, this is where it starts. It starts from here, and then everything else follows after that. That's one. And secondly, I hadn't met Thakzin at the time. There was a time when I was listening to a lot of that Thakzin's records and the records that he produced for other artists, and there was this sound that they used to do, and they called it Afro-funk, you know? And I'm like, what is this, you know? It had a lot of swing, a lot of groove, a lot of looseness, like off the grid type of feeling, and I wanted to understand what's going on there, and I hadn't met him at the time. So I was just there, like in the studio, just looking for samples. You know, I always try and find samples, find packs and all of those things. But it gets to a point whereby all of those things just like, there's a lot of them, but you just can't find the one that you're hearing in your head. And I was just like, let me just rather do it with my mouth. And then I just started like, you know, so it started from the shakers to the, you know, those things. And then all the way to the chanting and the singing. And yeah, man, it's a process that I cannot explain myself. I just stumbled upon it, looking for sounds, looking for how to sound different, you know, how to approach this three-step sound in my own way, you know, and not the typical way, or not the way that he does it, you know, or not the way that he introduced it to the people. So yeah, man, that's what inspired the chanting and the making the loops from your mouth, you know. I did it so much to a point where, like, now I have a folder of all of these loops, and it's kind of like a library now that I go to every time I create. So I've gotten to a point whereby I do not record these things anymore. They're just there. I just pull them up, you know, chop them up, create something else from that. So that's the type of person that I am, and I learned production from people like Sana Musician, who take sampling to the whole, like a whole nother level. Like, he goes in really deep when it comes to sampling and chopping up stuff and not ending up with the loop or the pack that you started with. So I just kind of like took that with me, And even when I record the shakers and everything, they still go through a process, you know, four-man pitching, pitch down, change it, chop it up. It doesn't sound good. It's not really quantized. I don't want it to sound quantized. It's too quantized. Let me move it a little bit. So that was the whole thing, man, with what I do in terms of recording chants and doing percussions with my mouth. Yeah.
I thought it's because you didn't have a vocalist and you're looking for a vocalist. You're like,
I just thought you didn't have a Splice subscription or something, and you were like, I gotta figure this out. The human splice.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, let's get onto the stage and let's make some noise. So Mpho.Wav is going to so generously not just break down a song that he made and go through the layers, which would be incredible as well, but he's actually going to recreate in front of us Teka from scratch, and show us the process from, because not only is he using his voice, he's an incredible piano player. So those chords you're hearing, the chord progressions, and all of the sounds and how they work together, man, this is crazy. As a producer, this is nuts. Shout out to Mpho.Wav. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. And make some noise for Thakzin, giving us the questions that we've been wondering for so long.
Yeah, so Teka, yeah, this is one of those days, you know, like I'm always in the studio checking out stuff, having fun, you know, looking for sounds, looking for samples, looking for plugins. That's always me, you know, and I just kind of like created a template so that we can move fast, you know, because I don't think we have a lot of time to go through everything. But I'm gonna try move as quickly as I possibly can. But basically, this is where it all started. I found this etherly pad-ish sample somewhere on the internet while looking, you know, and this is how it sounds like. So this was what kind of like inspired the beginning of the music. So this is where it just started out. I heard the sample and I was like, okay, initially this is not how it sounded. It was in another key, you know. I kind of like flipped it, pitched it down. It was in a much happier key, and then I moved to like a F sharp, which is more darker and a bit emotional. So the idea here was to get like to get groove and emotion in the same space, communicating. So I just started pulling up the sample. Then I added a piano. I added a piano. Let me just pull it up. Cool. Oh. Sorry. We'll be back in a moment. Yeah, so from the sample I played the chords to the piano, and what I usually do before getting to like a chord progression, it will be just doodling on the piano, you know, playing different stuff until I get to like a progression that I like or that I can work with. So I just started playing the piano on top of this sample. Something that went a little bit like this. So I just kind of like doodle around those chords until I had like a chord progression that kind of like fits a groove. So it started, it's just doodling, no timing, nothing, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a chord progression. So I just doodle around until I find something that sounds like this is where I'm trying to go. So yeah, this was the idea. I started moving to the claps, which I recorded like on the mic, obviously, as well, which was an exciting process. So I have some of them over here. This is how they initially sounded. So it's layers and layers and layers of these claps penned like in different spots and different places to kind of like create a feeling of people in a room like clapping hands or like clapping a groove. So so this is like this is recorded from my mic back in my studio. So I'm just gonna place it over here. This is like the second layer. And then I have a third one going on. So it's like 5 layers of claps that I did in total. Right, and then so this was like everyone in the room now doing this like little party going on, you know, and so if you listen to like each and every one of them, they're not really like quantized or like chopped to sit on the grid, which is something that I love doing, you know, getting off the grid a little bit to create a more human feel, you know, to the music instead of like a rigid quantized sound the whole time. I think we move better to a music that sounds like that more than like, you know, the rigid stuff. So I enjoy that a lot. So I just started laying claps like this, one after the other, you know, and
Do you want to show us?
yeah, I'm there.
Let's go.
There. Okay. and then we watch.
Just cook.
Okay, cool. So I just kind of like find the right piece that just gives it. Then I just kind of like keep going until we have a rich sound of claps going on. So yeah, that's basically what it is. Then I have like 4 layers now. We try to find like a nice groove. Then I started adding the kick, obviously, but now the idea is to like create a little bit of suspense, so we don't let the kick go first. We start EQing it out, you know, to create like a top kick type of vibe, which I love to do a lot, and I'm sure a lot of producers love to do that as well. Anybody loves to do that? Yeah, we start with the top kick. Like, it creates a certain level of, you know, like suspense. You know, where is the song going? So I just kind of like added a kick to it. But now the idea is to EQ out the low end. So a lot of times, there's like we have different processes. There's producers that what produce like while arranging, like moving this way. I produce moving this way. So I kind of like layer all of the sounds until I have a rich, perfect loop that I'm gonna then now chop and change and work through to create an interesting arrangement throughout the song. So there's people that produce move, make move, make move. I make and finish until everything sounds like a bit of like a perfect combination. And then I play around with that, break it down a little bit. So I would be going down, so don't be surprised. We're not moving this way. Down. So now that I felt like, okay, now we have like a rhythm going on, I just started like making sounds from my mouth to create like shaker sounds that I'm gonna play around with, and this is how I go about it.
Wow. Yeah. Come on.
Sometimes all of these other stuff they never get used, so I'll get them in the trash later on and chop them up again, create something else, you know. And that's how I ended up building the library I was telling you about, like, where I now have like folders of all these things happening. So I'm just gonna pick this one up and then add more layers. Then we move.
It's incredible, bro. Amazing.
Then it was the vocals, I just kept on adding these things until they sound like something that you don't understand, like what's going on. You don't know which one is making which sound. And I just kind of like play around, pen those, like left and right, hard left, wherever it feels right. Before I start adding like all these things like EQs and compressors, just trying to get it to sound good as raw as it is. So, yeah, and then while the loop was playing, the chant just came, and I won't lie. Teka means take. That's literally what it means, like take. Like so, yeah, man. And it's a Xitsonga word that people use like to hype you out. You know, when someone is dancing and you go like, hey, or whatever, like come on, and that's what it is. So, yeah, man, I just felt the groove and the vocals just came. I won't lie. I just started enjoying the beat, feeling the music, and this thing just came, man. Like, yeah, teka, ta ta, teka, yeah, teka, ta ta. Like so far.
Let's go. Make some noise. Let's go. Let's go. How many of you in the audience didn't know that that was his voice? Out of curiosity, everybody in here.
Yeah, and then after layering all of these voices the same way, this is kind of like the vocal that I ended up with.
Make some noise. Make some noise. Yo, Mpho, just for time's sake, was there any other element that you felt like you would
talking about?
Love to show, and then we could rock the song from start to finish if you don't.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, incredible stuff so far. Make some noise for Mpho.Wav right now.
I think one sound that I enjoyed putting together was this arpeggiating flute. Also, I found it just doodling on the piano. One of my favorite sounds in the song. You know? I was like, yeah, I need to get that down, you know? Yeah. So that was basically it, you know? And then from there, I opened up the kick towards the drop, obviously building up with a lot of other synthesizers all the way to the drop. And yeah, the song ended up the way it is. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Make some noise for Mpho.Wav right now. You know, I really want people to, like I said, you know, seeing your process firsthand and you telling me, you know, Teka, that was my voice. Underground, you know, I'm not going to try to do it. Can you do it for the people wanting just the voice and Underground? Just so I'm not going to try. So.
It's not, I'm saying nothing actually. Like, by the way,
you're saying nothing, but we feel everything.
Yeah, so it's like,
you know,
it's always the music first, and it's like there's something that needs to be said here as I'm playing the song over and over again, and that's just kind of like how these chants come, you know. And yeah, that was it. Yeah. And this is after that boom, 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 that groove. And that's where it started, you know. And then the groove inspired the chants. So that's basically what it is. And the same thing that happened here. Started with the sample, played the piano, added the claps, and as I built up, I felt like we needed a chant, you know, and that's how it just came, you know. So Teka, Teka, you know, yeah, that's just me.
And now your voice is echoing through the world right now, which is so amazing. So to end this session, I think it's only right that we play the record, so we could feel every element that you pieced together. And I would like for the audience, everyone that's sitting, we got to stand up and rock out to this one, because this is a classic. This songs like this are what push everyone's career forward and elevates all of us when the sounds echo through festivals around the world and clubs around the world and houses around the world and cars around the world. So
let's go.
And I also want to say thank you to you again, because there are very, very, very few producers that are willing to share the sauce and show the process. Very, very few.
Yeah.
People gatekeep, they hold things, and thank you for being a giver, you know. Thank you for being a giver. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me. I think just 2 seconds, you know, gatekeeping the sauce is not going to help you, you know, because you're just going to keep the sauce and it's going to go bad, you know. It's going to be too much sauce for you, and then it's just going to overwhelm you. So share the cake, you know, like this is just my advice to producers. Like, don't hide. Like, I'll let you know, this is what I used. I used Keyscape, I used use this, I use that. This is a stock plugin from FL Studio. I'll let you know. There's no reason to lie, because you're going to find it. Like, it's 2025. You are going to find it. Like, you're going to find it. Eventually, you're going to know how it works. So, yeah, man, I'm always happy to share, happy to give. Yeah, that's just what it is, man. I'm excited to be in such a space. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
everybody, Mpho.Wav.